Hello, my loves. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Boujee Astrology, and we're going to take a deeper look at the new moon eclipse in Virgo. Now, before we do any type of recap, breakdown, or anything like that, I'm doing a quick little reminder that I am running a special on my one-on-one sessions all month long. This will be the last full monthly special that I will run in the timeline of 2025. So if you are wanting to book a session with me, even if you're wanting to do it sometime in October, November, December, and you're wanting to do it at the discounted rate, now are the final times to do that. It's not even a full 2 weeks. It's like a week and a half right now. So these are your last few warnings that if you're wanting to book time with me at the discounted rate, you need to do that. All you have to do is go to the website, www.thespirituallyboujee.com. Go to astrological services, look for the one that says Eclipse Season Special, because if you click anything else, you're not going to get the discounted rate. Click on that one. 60-minute sessions have been reduced down to $35. 90-minute sessions have been reduced down to $50. And again, this is the last full monthly special that I will run in 2025. So there's that. Now, some of y'all are going to be looking at me funny right now with this little hat, and I got to be telling you, all of this week, I swear I have been channeling my grandma's energy more and more and more. And this was one of her hats that we got her in her cancer treatment days. And I kept all the hats because the majority of them I bought. And this one I feel is like the cute one that I want to wear today. So I've been wearing grandma's hats. You get to see it today. Anyways, moving along, moving along, moving along. Nothing's wrong with my hair. That's more of what I was getting at, because somebody's be like, Dustin, what happened? No, nothing's wrong. Okay. Now, when it comes to this eclipse, it's the second new moon in Virgo. And I said before, there was something that was being brought into the light, something that was coming into flourishing, something that was starting to take shape, not directly seen by everybody. So for a lot more people, it was like an internalized vibe that started roughly around August 23rd, because that was the new moon in Virgo, also known as the black moon in Virgo, because of its placements. Now, that happened just a few weeks ago. And what I had said for a while is that whatever is going on in that new moon is going to impact the next one, because the next one is the actual eclipse. Hi, how are you? Now we're in the eclipse vibration. Now, at the time that I'm recording this on Thursday, September 18th. We've already gone through Mercury opposite Saturn. Really, right around the time that I am recording this, we're building into Mercury opposite Neptune, but it has not fully perfected yet. But I wanted to feel part of that mercurial transition of going opposite Saturn, going into Libra, and just, again, being at this beginning peak of its opposition to Neptune, to see what kind of downloads I got in this time frame. Because I'm not just tuned into the way it impacts me as an individual, I also am in tune with the way it's impacting you guys. And yesterday, as in Wednesday, with that Mercury Saturn opposition, y'all were in my DMs all day long. It was a very busy messaging, responding. I didn't even respond to everybody. I'm going to be honest about that. Kind of day yesterday, because everybody needed something, or everybody was in the process of delivering some kind of information. And some of you were just telling me that. I've turned in my notice. I've decided to file. I'm in the process of doing something. And the key term I want to bring up right there is where we're in the process, a decision of being in the process of something, and awareness, a mental awareness of something that needs to be taken care of. But for a lot of people, it needs to be taken care of very, very quickly. It needs to get done very, very quickly. Some people, you actually told me that. I'm about to be done with something. But the entirety of the energy in the buildup up to the new moon is that buildup of transition. We are in the process of the transition. And arguably the decision, the enlightenment surrounding the transition is harder than what we land in afterwards. Now, I'm saying that in the full spectrum of things. The transition, making the decision, delivering said news, living in the moment. And then after a few days beyond the full level of transition that we're going into, then the anxiety, the angst, the frustration in some ways will start to wind down. In other ways, it will really push forth hidden desires. Now, that's not going to be directly during the new moon. It's going to be in just the next few days afterwards, because we're going to focus on more than just the new moon. We're going to focus on the pattern of what happens after the new moon. So we're going to focus on a lot more based off everybody's rising signs. Now, again, for some people, what's going through in this new moon is a buildup towards, I need to make a change. But some of the change, again, is weeks in the making. So therefore, the change is not necessarily us coming to terms with just a change. It is almost like a completion. I feel like a lot more people, we already made the commitment to a change. For some of us, it was super easy. I want more. I want another one. I want to do something different. I want to try harder. It wasn't hard at all to deal with. And as the vibration has progressed, we're hitting a bit of a turning point of like, now I've done all the work to make a change happen. I just need the change to click into place. And I feel like that's going to be a lot of the vibration immediately following the eclipse. Because as soon as we go through that 29-degree new moon opposite Saturn, which we haven't even got into the Saturn part yet, the moon will transition into Libra. Within 24 hours of that, Mars will transition into Scorpio. Within less than 24 hours of that, so all together collectively, within 48 hours, it's actually 36, but yeah, we'll go with 36. Within 36 hours of the new moon perfecting, the moon will go into Libra, Mars will change signs, and the sun will change signs. So it's not all going to perfect directly during the new moon. And the human effect is, many of us, it's going to be a part of how we start the next week, how we go into Monday, and what we're dealing with going into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday following the new moon. Again, the new moon is perfecting at 2:55 p.m. Central Standard Time, Sunday afternoon on September 21st. So the vibration that's setting in, the vibration that we're going into, it is not just a one and done situation. We've been building up to it all week. But whenever it comes to the idea of Virgo, Virgo is a transitional sign. It's a mutable sign. The last day of Virgo season is the last day of summer, because the first day of Libra season is the first day of fall. We are coming to a transitional peak of completion. So something new can set in. So something new can be seen. So something new can come to light. Now, I've compared this in a couple ways for some people. This is like building a house. You only build up to so much, and after a while, something is done. You don't need to paint anymore. The tile is done. The grout is done. The house is clean. You get a certificate of occupancy. You close on the property. I used to be in real estate and home building specifically for many, many years. So this is why I'm using this as an example. You only have to build so much. And then after so much time, the building process is over. It's over. And then afterwards is the next stage of what this house is going to represent. It becomes a home. It's not just a structure that's being built. We get the green light. We get the approval. We get the ability to transition into living into the home that we've been building. This is a transitional new moon. For some people, this is something's got to give. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I feel like I've been waiting forever. I just need the green light. I just need the approval. It's still the same concept. It's just a different mentality. You are not doing the building process. You are in the sitting and stewing process. Something's got to give. I need something to happen. I need something to work. I need the energy to catch up with me. 9 times out of 10, I'll be honest, that's me. Because I read this stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, I just make a quick decision. And then I am like stopping and waiting. I'm stuck in traffic. It's like I'm waiting on everybody else to catch up to click a sensor. And if you have listened to me for a long time, or if you've had one-on-one sessions with me, you've heard this example before. Something's got to give. Come on, green light. I want to go. I need the approval. I need this conversation. I need some kind of responsibility shift. I need the person in charge to finally tell me something can happen. And that takes me to the fact that this is a new moon opposite Saturn. Now, for some people, on Wednesday in the Mercury Saturn opposition, news was delivered, decisions were made. For some of us, it was, I no longer want to be responsible for that mess. Not my pig, not my farm, not my circus, not my monkeys, not my shit, not my shovel. Don't want to do it. Now, some people had an internalized energy of becoming aware of something somewhere between Wednesday, the 17th, Thursday, the 18th, and Friday, the 19th. There's an internalized awareness of, I don't want to do that anymore. And some people had to speak that awareness. I don't want your judgment anymore. I don't want your crap anymore. I don't want to do something anymore. You don't get to continue. And it's like once this vibration becomes aware, once we speak our truth, once we say what we need to say and get something off our chest, it allows for something new to take shape very, very quickly. For a lot of people, there was a foreshadowing in the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, of foreshadowing of what new steps we're going to take. That foreshadowing was meant to help us. Now, why do I say that? Because Mercury rules this new moon. And as soon as we got through those few days, Mercury was also entering Libra. At the time that I'm recording this now on Thursday, the 18th, Mercury has went into Libra. And it constituted an arrival of new information, downloads around new information, new conversations, new announcements. Certain things were being spoken. But by the time we get to the eclipse, we're also going to have this vibration that speaks to mutual reception. Because over the weekend, right before the eclipse perfects, Venus is going to change signs, and Venus is going to arrive in Virgo. And what this means is that the benefits of any transits that impact Venus also impact Mercury. The negative impacts of Venus will also impact Mercury too. So it's not just benefits. But what it tells me is that these two signs are now working together. Everything Venus rules is now impacting Mercury. And for a little while Mercury is in Libra, everything that's impacting Mercury is also benefiting or impacting Venus in some way. This eclipse also has an activation of mutual reception. And that means as we start breaking this down by sign, we're not just going to focus on what Virgo rules for you, we're also going to focus on what Libra rules for you. Because as soon as this eclipse perfects, the sun and the moon, Libra, go into Libra. They go into Venus's sign. So if you don't have an awareness of what Virgo and Libra rule for you, we're going to focus on it because I need you to be aware. We're in a transitional energy that takes us into something new. And at first, that new can be exciting. That new can go into steps of the unknown. They can be rather confusing. They can be inspiring. They can also put us into a situation where we have to face things that we have not wanted to face, certain realities, certain truths. We can also have to face other people and their lies and their crap and what they've been saying about us and having another level of impact from that regard. We've had internalized energies all throughout the week going into this eclipse, bubbling up to the surface. But after we learn and understand certain things, it's like now I can address that elephant that's been in the room that nobody wanted to talk about. The vibrations of what has been going on below the surface after they've had little ways of popping through. I can address them differently. I can talk about them differently. I can work through them differently. I just have to get the full peak of the vibration. Now, the other thing about this new moon being opposite Saturn is Saturn doesn't just rule responsibility. It doesn't just rule the authority figures giving permission or having, certain services or rights removed, depending on the situation. And other elements, it is time. Time to shift our focus, time to go in this other direction, time to transition into something different, new. But again, only so much of this new, this is my disclaimer to all that. I like the new. I want the new. I just don't want people to step into the new expecting, again, big overnight success in certain things. I feel like it's, again, lateral energy of like, we've cemented ourselves into the vibration that we need to throughout Virgo season. And now this foundation of what we've cemented into can reach more people. It's going to connect in a different way. There will be more showcasing, more information. It's lateral movement that, again, allows more of our deeper desires to find ways of coming to the surface. So I want you to be aware of just how transitional the aspect of this energy is, because it's not just a shiny new beginning, this new thing over here. For some people, it will be a new item. For some people, it will be a new car, but it's like a new car that didn't come with a loan tied to it. It's like it came from grandpa. It came from someone else who no longer needs that energy, that no longer has that responsibility, that no longer wants to care for something. That's what a lot of it feels like. And that has to do with that opposition to Neptune. For some of us, we are stepping into something new and we are transitioning into something new because we don't trust a certain person the same way. We don't want to be responsible for certain people the certain way. And it's like, as soon as we step into that new, we don't even know what follows, what comes with it, that new information, the new truth, the new lies. We don't even know what we don't know until we make the commitment in the vibration of, I don't want to do that anymore. So just be aware. Okay. If you have never heard a new moon or a full moon video with me before, that is perfectly fine. All you need to know is I don't care if your ascendant is at 2 degrees or 22 degrees. Whatever zodiac sign your ascendant is in is your first house, the entire sign. And then every numerical house that follows will be associated with the next zodiac sign. We're not splitting houses in between one zodiac sign. We're just not going to do it. We're just going to stay focused in the sense of like the next zodiac sign is the next house. That becomes real important for some people after a while because you don't necessarily always read it that way, but that's how I do because I found it's more accurate for a lot of people. Okay, so let's get into it. For my Aries and Aries risings. Okay, my loves. This is a new moon in your 6th house of health. How you care for yourself, how you care for other people, how you are of service. Now, this new moon is directly opposite Saturn in your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. In addition to that, immediately after this new moon, both the moon and the sun are going to transition into Libra, and they're going to hit this opposition to Neptune in your 1st house. Now, some of you are feeling very, very inspired, or you've had this belief about something, and something in this new moon is going to come through and like challenge your belief. It's going to challenge your imagination. It's going to challenge what you thought was real. It's going to challenge you in some way because that immediate opposition to Neptune. In addition to this, it is going to trigger some level of transformation. Why do I say that? Because not only will the sun move into Libra, But Mars, your chart ruler, is going to go into Scorpio, which is your 8th house. Death, debt, taxes, inheritance. The thing about money is we're not always quick to share it. You're not going to give me your bank account, nor should you, by the way, nor should you. And if you're not willing to share everything, then it turns into a secret. And the 8th house can have to do with the secrets. It can have to do with the occult. It can have to do with the stuff that goes on below the scenes and beneath the surface. In that way, the taboo like things. And something can happen that makes you wonder about secrets, wonder about the truth, or wonder about certain finances. Makes you question whether, finances can be reached or not. Can you afford to do certain things? And that really comes down to like whether you're dealing with the mystical form of Mars going into Scorpio or that mundane form. Now, Mars in Scorpio is going to last roughly about 6 weeks. And it's going to start right after this new moon. So it's actually going to start on the 21st. Or I'm sorry, on the 22nd. The new moon is the 21st. On the 22nd. And it is going to last all the way into early November. So there is this vibration that kind of comes through that speaks to you're probably going to deal with more than one thing. So if you start it financially, that doesn't mean that you don't end it with occult or secrets or affairs. If you start something right after this new moon that feels like a relationship, like you have somebody that comes through and they're like, oh, I like your energy. Wow, where did you come from? You should also question a lot, and you should also double check everything. Because the last thing we want to do is come in thinking that we're making some new relationship or partnership happen just to find out you're the sneaky link, that you're the side piece, that you're the extra, because they're doing something shady. Some of you might have certain challenges in regards to whether you've been telling the truth or not. Now, that won't necessarily immediately come out in the new moon. I feel like that's what's going to be part of that vibration of as soon as the sun goes into Aries. Have you been telling the truth or something or not? And again, there could be some things that start to like strike a chord that make you have to face certain things that you did not want to face. Some of you are going to be forced even more so to pull back. Some of you are going to have some things that have been going on behind the scenes that have been in that hiding situation that you don't want to deal with them. Or there's the potential of somebody new coming through, and it kind of instigates that hiding situation, because we also have this Knight of Cups in addition to the Eight of Swords, the Hermit card, and everything that we're dealing with there. Now, again, not everybody is going to be dealing with a relationship thing. Not everybody is going to be dealing with a legal matter. Some people are going to be dealing with legal matters because the sun going into the 7th, and that how much that legal matter is going to cost, or contracts or some kind of commitment, and how much that's going to cost. And that takes me to the next 3 sets of cards, because we have the Hierophant, which can have to do with hierarchy, people that are in places of position, who's in charge, questioning whether you should be in charge or not, or questioning decisions that you have made while you have been in charge. And you believed that you were wrong, but you might not necessarily realize that certain things have been going on behind your back. Other people, you did do the right thing. And because you did do the right thing, you're getting noticed differently. And we have this opportunity that starts to show itself. I don't know that it's immediate. Let's be clear about this. For some people, it might be immediate, and then you don't like the way it feels if you take something on immediately. That's just kind of knowing the astrology. But you won't know that at first. It's going to take a while before you can fully know, like, I don't quite know if I like how this feels. I think in the moment, you feel enlightened, you feel inspired to do something different because you are being seen differently. And taking on new positions can be in the immediate something that feels really, really good, even if there's somebody in your surroundings that they don't like it. There can be recognition here, but it can also be recognition that kind of instigates feelings of, what is it? Not worthy type of thing, or imposter syndrome. That's what I'm trying to think of. There can be some little things that be like, oh, I didn't know what I didn't know. And now that I'm starting to be more in charge of something, I'm realizing I don't know what I don't know. So for some of you, there's going to be something that is like, it's an opportunity of, again, a new commitment that can impact the finances with Mars going into the eighth. For some people, it's going to be a new form of judgment that requires you to rethink your finances with Mars going into the eighth. The energy around Neptune in your first is the hardest to judge, because for some people you are feeling inspired and you got these great ideas. All you need is the right people to trust you, and I can take something forward. But the thing is, you can't completely take it forward. It's actually going to take a lot more time than you realize, and you're not willing to accept that right now. Just be aware of that. Don't overpromise to underdeliver. Some of you are being seen differently, and there's opportunity to make something grow, but I need you to be aware that the growth is going to take a lot more time than you're initially going to anticipate, that you're initially realizing. That does not have to be a bad thing. I just don't want you to overpromise to underdeliver. The other thing about Neptune in the first, while going through an eclipse in the sixth house, is this can have to do with medicine, and this can have to do with treatments and whether there needs to be another treatment or not. For some of you, there could be something that is believed to look one way, but we don't realize there's something else underlying the surface. So you might get false negatives or false positives, depending on the situation, around this eclipse that either lets you know that you can do something that you really can't be doing, or that you should be doing something, or I'm sorry, or it's telling you you can't do something, but that really, after enough R&R or some therapy, or that could be physical therapy, that could be treatment of any sort, that later on you're going to be able to do it. So be aware of the potential of things around false positives or false negatives whenever it comes to health. But that Neptune in the first is real hazy, because for some of you it's having to do with treatments, because for some of you it is inspiration, for some of you it is beliefs and feeling empowered to do certain things a different way. For others, it is got some level of hidden judgment tied to it that you can't quite put your finger on yet. And I need you to be aware that there can be judgments of something going on behind your back that can blindside you immediately following the eclipse. It's not directly the day of the eclipse, it's more the days afterwards. So be aware of that. Okay, moving along. Moving along. For Taurus and Taurus risings. Okay, my loves. Now, this is a new moon in your fifth house of love and joy and romance and happiness and children. Immediately before this new moon perfected, your chart ruler, Venus, moved into Virgo, and it went through a square with Uranus. So you guys are actually feeling the eclipse energy, probably more so with this Uranus square Venus energy than you did the actual eclipse. Some of you, you're going to be dealing with both. Something new with a potential love interest, new with your children, new things going on with the children of others, new creative outlets and creative projects. Some of you with that Uranus square to Venus, like, we found out like the cost of something is like, oh, we should totally try this. We should totally do something new. We should totally do this thing that we've never done before, and see how we can work it into our energy, to see how we can put certain things together. And some people are going to find themselves kind of looking at different options of how they do things with some of the new people that are in your life, or some of the old people that have come back around in life. Now, for some people, that is going to lead to whole new sets of vibration. For other people, that is going to make you face certain things and deal with certain things from the past that we did not want to deal with. I've warned about the past things coming back around. I've warned about the potential of like that geyser stuff, and so much of Saturn going back into the 11th is going to take you back to things that correlate to earlier this year. But now we're seeing things differently. And with Venus now being in Virgo, there's something about trying to be more practical about things But it's hard to be practical whenever there's so much going on all at once. So we have the Seven of Cups energy. And given again, Uranus goes through that square with Venus. For some people, that's going to be something unexpected and exciting that allows for something new to go on with a loved one, with your kids, and a creative outlet, an unexpected shift in your luck, unexpected financial shifts. So, unexpected things that impact you financially. And directly around this new moon, but not directly because of this new moon, there can be overwhelm. And this Seven of Cups speaks to the overwhelm, especially if it has to do with like something about another person coming back around. And what I'm looking at again is this new moon is in this opposition to Saturn in your 11th house of friends, network, clients, and colleagues. Like you can have something new coming through or the potential of going down a different path. So we have this Two of Wands and we have the Fool card. But that doesn't mean that we can immediately charge down this area because so much of our energies can either be stuck on someone from the past. You have these little tests between knowing the difference between friends and lovers whenever your fifth and your 11th is activated, and your fifth and your 11th are activated. To be fair about that. We have little tests between knowing the difference between friends and lovers, not wanting to face certain truths about certain people in our lives, not necessarily wanting to listen to all the people in our surroundings, Three of Wands energy, whenever they're telling us these certain truths. Now we have this King of Coins. Like, look, I know you think he's all sunshine and rainbows, but I'm telling you, he is not sunshine and rainbows. We can sit here and think that we are going out with certain people or hanging out with certain people that are like they're different. It's changed. I promise. He told me that everything is so much better. He promised the moon and the stars, because don't they always? And then you watch while you're out and about and you see certain things going on in your surroundings, and it makes you realize maybe you can't trust the way that you think you can trust. The Neptune energy is something that's very, very heavy, even though it's clear, it's not clear. Like there's something about it, like it's fogging our senses in so many ways. There's so many things that we are not seeing clearly, so many people we are not seeing clearly. You can have certain people that, as you go through this next few days, specifically most, exact around the eclipse, but it can also take into the weekdays and the weekend going into the before, as well as the few days immediately afterwards, that what you thought was going to go a certain way is not going to continue to go that way. And then it's going to come down to how you are physically starting to respond. When you are around somebody that is good for you, you feel lighter, you feel solid, you feel quite literally, your body feels good. But when you are around somebody that is not good for you, your blood pressure spikes, your stomach gets upset, your headaches are coming around, smells, sensitivities to smells. I'm sensitive to smell all the time, but really, like, something don't smell right, it doesn't feel right, and it's just like it starts to feel like an ick. What I'm looking at is, as soon as this new moon perfects, the sun and the moon are going to move into your sixth house of health, how you care for yourself, how you care for other people, things in regards to your routine. Simultaneously, Mars is going to move into your seventh house of relationships, partnerships, and legal matters. The arrival of someone new in your surroundings can have a physical impact on you if you are not ready. There can be something that triggers the insecurity. So if you get through this entire last 2 weeks of September, I'm just going to round it out to that, and you are still feeling calm, you still are feeling cool, you're feeling collected, you're not feeling stress or strain in any way, that I would think that you're good. However, if you go through this entire weekend and then at the end of it, you are just loaded with the overwhelm and the anxiety. So going back to your very first card, the Seven of Cups card, if you are just weighed down with anxiety and frustration about whether you have made the right decision or not, your body is telling you you didn't. I want Taurus risings to listen to their body over the course of the next few weeks. because I think there's going to be something that really shows you intuitively if you are in alignment or not. If you are, snaps, baby, enjoy it. Venus in Virgo, Venus in your fifth, feeling playful, playful with certain people, playful in relationships, playful with your friends. Enjoy the vibration. If you are not feeling well, take that into consideration. There's going to be a lot of work immediately following this eclipse because so much is going to be in your sixth house, which is a health house, but it's also a productive house and how, again, you care for other people. So there's a busyness that will follow that will feel like a lot of work if you're not in alignment. If you are in alignment, it's just going to feel like fun busyness, regardless of whether it has to do with your health or not. Okay. Moving along, moving along, moving along. For Geminis and Gemini risings, this is a new moon in your fourth house of home, home life, family, roots, ancestry. There's something new that's coming to the surface. Some of this is going to take you back to your childhood. It's a very different vibration for you guys. Some of you are going to feel like this compelled vibration to put someone in their place. Now, what I'm looking at is immediately before this new moon perfects, Uranus, 1 degree, 22 minutes, is going to square Venus. Now, this actually perfects more on the overnight hours between the 19th and into the early morning hours of the 20th. So there is something more in that time frame that speaks like an unexpected adjustment, an unexpected change, an unexpected vibration. But Venus is in mutual reception with Mercury, and Mercury is your chart ruler. Mercury is now in the fifth house of love, luck, joy, romance, happiness, and children. Some of you are going to be having new things going on that makes you feel like a kid again. Oh, this is the kind of place that I've always wanted to live. Some of you are going to go home to your family home, and it's like once you go back to mama's house, it's like, oh my God, I remember the last time I was in this room. Nothing's changed, because we all have that one member of our family that the extra rooms stay exactly the same from whenever you were a kid. The Backstreet Boys posters from the late 90s are still on the walls. OG Britney Spears still on the walls. Some of the other boy bands that didn't even make it past the 90s, still on the walls. And it's like there's a hint of nostalgia in it. Showing it to your new boyfriend. Yeah, this is my room. I haven't been in here in 20 years, 30 years. Holy crap. Now we can go with 20. A little bit over. For some of you, you're going to have this itch to say something to members of the family that we need to deal with something. For some of you, you're going to have something that literally goes on with your mom. And for some people, it is going to go well. It is going to be happy. It is going to be just kind of a calm, fun energy. For other people, it's going to be an analytical energy. It is going to be an overwhelming energy. And it really kind of comes down to, are you dealing with this from an individual perspective of you making choices, or are you having certain things pile onto your plate regarding the family? And it doesn't just have to be your immediate household, like you living by yourself in a 1-bedroom apartment. No. I am talking about your actual family home, people that you grew up with. Because some of us, home is not a place, home is a person. And there can be a lot of things that find their way of coming to the surface. We've got this 7 of Cups energy, which is an overwhelm card. We have this 8 of Coins energy that we have to do some work. There is some progress that needs to be made. There are some things that need to get looked at, considering, again, this is a new moon in the 4th house, which can have to do with mothers, opposite Saturn in the 10th house of career. And that can also have to do with fathers. The 10th house can have to do with fathers. For some of us, we're going to be having to come with terms of like how we deal with something between mom and dad. For some of us, we're going to be looking at whether we're going to be moving to a new house for our career. For some of you, you're going to be getting some kind of news that there's going to be transfers in the spring. You might not be immediately moving, but you learned of something that's going to impact the household. And that again comes to the fact that this new moon is opposite Saturn in your 10th house. And there can be a lot of overwhelm and a lot of, again, work that needs to be done. Some of you are going to be having to deal with, again, work with somebody around the family, an aunt, mother, grandmother. Certain things can be coming to light in this energy. So we have the star card, and it can be coming to light in more than one way. Again, it can be coming to light in the sense of like there's something wrong with mom, new moon in the fourth, and dad didn't tell us. So new moon opposite Saturn. For some of you, it's because you had to go back home in some type of public aspect because of some type of work situation. Some of you are moving into a new home and looking at the perspective of like the new outlook it can be for you in career, the new outlook that it can be for you in that long run. So now we have the Ace of Cups energy. We also have the Knight of Cups energy. Considering your chart ruler, Mercury, is in the 5th house of love, luck, joy, romance, happiness, and children, some things can go back to your childhood. And it's like we have to do some inner child healing in this new moon, but inner child healing that also requires addressing certain things from the past. Whether that past goes back to the springtime when Saturn was in Pisces before, whether that has to do with 30 years ago when Saturn was in Pisces back in the 90s, doesn't matter. Some of you are going to be going way further back than just the vibration of this year. Like there's certain things being brought to the surface in different ways, and we need to pursue certain things, pursue the truth, pursue what gives us relief, pursue the things that will help us let go of this overwhelm and let go of whatever final stage of healing is on the verge for you guys. Why am I saying that part? I want to warn you. Uranus is now retrograde. By the time we get into November, which is a month and a half away, but if I start warning you now, then by the time we get to that energy, you'll be like, okay, now I understand why you kept warning about it. Uranus still needs to go back into the 12th. We still have some final element of healing that's going to come through later on. But for you to understand what that level of healing is, we need the things that trigger us now. And I've said this to a couple of people. I don't know how many Gemini risings I've said this to, but there's only so much healing you can do as an individual. And then eventually the universe sends somebody in to push a button. There's an area of your back that you cannot reach to scratch. It's just, you either need to go hit a corner of the wall and do it this way, or you need somebody that will go behind you and scratch your back in that one center area that you can't reach. Healing has an area that you can't reach. And the only way it can be reached is to either have the old person come back around, push some buttons, or it's a new person that comes in that has similar vibration and similar traits to the old person. And their vibration and the similarity of them hits the area that you can't heal on your own. It's the one that reopens the wound. So you can finally process certain things in your healing that you need to process. I don't feel like this new moon is necessarily everybody having that reopening of the wound per se. I think we become aware that there is a wound. A lot of you, there's going to be an awareness that there is a wound that we have not healed from yet. And little by little, as the next month and a half progresses, we will understand that even more. But we are in the moment of awareness around that. For some of you, it's not going to be about healing. It is a new chapter in your life, a new chapter in your home, a new chapter around family, a new plan of action coming through that speaks to bringing your hope and your deepest desires. Because again, we still have this Ace of Cups and we have this Knight of Cups following that star card. There is clarity, there is an awareness, there is an epiphany in this vibration. And how soon it takes to unfold, how long it takes to unfold. Human effect is it's different for everybody. but there is an awareness of either something old that needs to finally be dealt with in this new moon to be finally healed of it, or big or there's the new awareness around an old wound that needs to be healed, that we haven't fully tapped into the old wound quite yet. But it's like the players, whoever gets that spot in your back, they start to come to light in and around this new moon. So be aware of that. Okay. Moving along, moving along, moving along. Now, for Cancers and Cancer risings, this is a new moon in your third house. Education, short distance travel, stuff going on with your siblings, stuff going on with your car. You are the ones that if you wanted to take a day trip in this new moon, I wouldn't blame you. If you wanted to take an even further trip or book your trip in this new moon, I wouldn't blame you. Wouldn't blame you one bit. For some of you, there is going to become the awareness of having to teach somebody something, or the awareness that we need to learn something from somebody. Now, not everybody's going to like the idea of learning, but that is the truth. So we have the new moon here in the third house, opposite Saturn in the ninth house. The third and the ninth house is higher education, higher learning. Considering Saturn is in Jupiter's sign and Jupiter is in your first house, I feel like many of you are going to have to commit to teaching something more so than learning something. But it can be a mix of both. Teaching someone how to overcome something, how to let go of something. Some of it is going to be some long form of training. Some of you are going to be taking some additional level of like classes. Some of you have already been in the process of dealing with this, or like you've been putting together the curriculum or putting together everything. And now we're getting to the point of green light of like, okay, I've spent the last few weeks putting everything together so I can teach something to somebody. Now I'm committing to classes that are going to start October 1st. They're going to start September 29th because I believe that's a Monday. Like I'm thinking of it from that perspective, like the human effect perspective. It might not all happen on the 22nd, but for some people it might. Other people, you are learning something from a sibling that is going to call you back home, call you back to your family, call you back to a certain place, because somebody needs help doing something has gone wrong in some way. Because I'm looking at the fact that Mars has been in your fourth house of home life, and family for the last 6 weeks. And Mars is about to leave. But as soon as Mars leaves, the sun and the moon are going to be a part of moving into Libra. It's moving into the fourth house. Venus and Mercury are in mutual reception. So it's like you get the call from a sibling. I'm going to go with just a sibling. You get a call from the neighbor. You get a call from somebody from your past that forces you back home, that makes you go travel somewhere, that puts you into a certain perspective. There is something about some element of the past finding its way back through. And for some people, the past is going to suck. I got the 5 of Coins energy, but I also have the 7 of Swords. Some of you are going to learn that something has been going on with some of the people in your surroundings, and it's going to kind of test that confidence level around you. For some of you, you're going to be trying to commit to something or someone and not necessarily completely sure if you can trust them or not. And it really kind of comes down to what has been leading from the last new moon to this one. If it's a travel thing, if it's a family thing, if it's a learning, teaching thing, or if it's like that call back home type of situation. It really kind of comes down to the buildup of the last month. So specifically since around that August 23rd time to this one as to what we're dealing with. So there's that. We have the 5 of Coins. We have the 7 of Swords. These are the harsh cards. Everything else has a whole different vibration to it. So again, we can have some things that kind of take us back to the past. They can test us. Some of it can be financially testing with that 5 of Coins. Some of you are going to get called to go help somebody with their in the family because they had a financial issue. and you don't necessarily know about that, but we could still have some type of lying, cheating, fraud, deception, betrayal type of thing with that Seven of Swords. What I'm looking at is, again, think again, the sun and the moon will go into Libra, hit that opposition to Neptune, lies, fraud, deception, hit the trine to Uranus in your 12th, the unknown, betrayal, behind your back stuff, and the trine to Pluto in your 8th house, which is a death house. It's a debt house. It's a secrets house. And you could be discovering in this vibration that something's gone on with a family member that has some level of like money issue, betrayal issue that's been going on, or you learn of something from the outside that's starting to impact your household based off of the kinds of truths that come through in the eclipse going into that start of Libra season. And now we have the Queen of Swords following that. The thing about the swords is there's no emotions to swords. That Queen of Swords, she don't give a shit if she hurts your feelings or not. And I know that's not always the way that you Cancers act, but sometimes you have to just say, I don't give a shit if I'm hurting your feelings or not. That Queen of Swords speaks to that. Now, everything else tells me that whatever starts to unfold after this new moon, it was already in motion, whether, again, it's the learning thing, it's the travel thing, the family thing, it doesn't matter. This vibration was already in motion, all gas, no brakes with that Chariot card. There's no way to stop it. There's no way to circumvent it. A lot of our energy has been building up for months. And I've been saying that for months, but I meant it. And now we're in it. So there's that. Some of you are going to be great in regards to whether you're taking on that new training, the new learning. Some of you are going to love the travel aspect. If you're hopping on, something work-wise that's taking you to multiple places all at once, or if you're committing to some kind of travel, that path that starts to unfold with the Ace of Wands is going to feel really good, especially with that mix of the Chariot card. It's like everything's destined to do exactly what it's supposed to do. The Four of Coins, I want you to remember to keep certain things close to you. Do not all, I know you wear your emotions on your sleeve a lot of the time, Cancer risings, most of you do, but sometimes you just need to tell people, I am happy, I am grateful, and you don't need to tell everybody what you're doing. That Four of Coins, you need to keep some stuff close to your heart. If you got money in the bag and you're having to go help a family member, you don't tell them how much money you have in the bank. You make smart decisions of how much you're willing to give, if you are willing to give, and what you need to keep behind. And that is nobody's business but yours. Do not give everything to everyone. For those of you that are about to deal with the family stuff, for those of you that are about to have some expenses in the home life, don't take shortcuts if we have some kind of unexpected expense that also impacts like home repairs. Don't take the shortcut. If you get two different options, like, well, we can replace this one pipe, but if there's a bigger issue, then we're going to have to repair that too. Or we could just do the whole shebang all at once. And the difference of cost is like $500 to $1,000. I'm telling you to do the whole shebang. Just do it all. Do not nickel and dime it, because you're going to get miserable if you do. Make smart decisions and don't allow for something to come back up later on that type of practical side. Even if it's something with your car, if they come back and they say the repairs are blah 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 stupid high, make the decision of whether you're going to use your savings to go buy a new car and maybe trade that one in and make it somebody else's problem, or if you're willing to make the repairs or not. Make smart decisions for the big picture scope and not just an immediate band-aid fix. Do not take shortcuts. Okay, that was not in my notes, but that's exactly where I went with it. Oh, okay. For Leos and Leo risings, this is a new moon in your second house of money, your assets, your stuff, how you make money, how you spend money, things that have been going on financially. Some of you are going to feel compelled to buy something new. Some of you, it might be a new car. Some of you might be looking at a new job opportunity, having something else come through in regards to a financial opportunity. Some of you are about to be, getting announced in your new job and your new promotion. in your new role. You're going to be announcing stuff to your clients in this energy. Maybe not directly during the new moon, but in the days following. Because again, once the sun and the moon are done in Virgo, they're going to go into Libra, which is your third house of short distance travel and communication. And they're going to go through that trine with Uranus in your 11th. The opposition to Neptune in the 9th, which is not nearly as heavy, but also that trine to Pluto in the 7th house of relationships. Some of you are going to have some new things that come through that do have a cost to them, but they're also going to impact a legal matter. They're going to impact, again, your client base. They're going to impact the people that you call friends. They're going to impact some of the way that you connect to certain people in your surroundings. Some of you are making a commitment that immediately leads to the next round of something, the launch of something, the movement of something, the announcements of something, because again, the sun is your chart ruler, going from an eclipse in the 2nd house, moving into that 3rd house. Now, in addition to that, for some of you, there's going to be something that starts to unfold that also impacts the home life, that impacts the family, that impacts your siblings. Why do I say that? Because the sun is going to go into your 3rd house, which is a short distance travel house, but it is also a siblings house. In addition to that, Mars, good old Mars, is going to enter Scorpio. And that is your 4th house of home life, and family. Some of y'all got some unfinished business in this area. Now, there is a level and layer to Mars and Scorpio that I have not talked about on the podcast yet. I've talked about some individuals about it, but I have not talked about it on the podcast yet. And I'm actually going to start talking about it in the week ahead podcast because I've already been meditating on all of this. And I'm letting you know that once Mars goes into Scorpio, there is shit that's going to go all the way back to 2 years that's going to finally start to hit ahead. And there's a multitude of reasons why I'm saying that. They're going to finally hit ahead. They're going to finally move into place. They're going to finally do some things. And I have not felt compelled to say this to many other signs quite yet, but I'm saying it to you guys now. I will explain this more in the week ahead podcast. Mars is about to really trigger an awareness around the next round and levels of unfinished business, but he's also wanting to launch some things. But for you guys, that unfinished business or launching is in your 4th house of home life, family, roots, ancestry, genetics. I say genetics with the 4th house because you inherit more than your mama's good looks. Some of y'all inherited her irritable guts. Some of y'all inherited something else. And you're the only people so far that have got these 2 cards, and these are the first 2 out. It's 10 of Wands, and we have the Devil card. So again, I'm bringing up for you guys, when Mars goes into the 4th, we got some unfinished business around the family, around the home life, even with siblings. That's going to be coming back around. That's going to be coming back up to the surface. And in a lot of ways, it's a long time coming. 7 of Coins energy. In a lot of ways, once you put certain things to bed, it's also like putting something to bed for another long time. Like, that's why I'm saying there's some wrap ups to some unfinished business. And this 7 of Coins energy, it's like planting seeds. I feel like what I'm picking up on with you guys is the seeds have been planted for a while, but it wasn't like spring to now type of germination. For a lot of you, it's even further back. So a lot of this energy speaks to, we have some things that need to come to a completion. We have some toxic patterns that need to be dealt with. Even though the actual eclipse is in your 2nd house of money, the other parts of the vibration of what starts to unfold once the sun goes into Libra and Mars is in Scorpio, because they move together, it feels like you can have a real mundane eclipse of like, yeah, I'm going to make this decision, quite literally 2 of Coins. I'm going to make this decision of doing something that makes me super happy, that I feel lucky with doing, that I think I can finally do on my own. 9 of Coins energy. 9 of Coins is kind of a boss bitch card with it following the 2 of Coins. It's like, I've been juggling something for a while. I'm going to make a decision to do something different, to do something that makes me feel empowered with the 9 of Coins. And our last card out was that King of Cups energy. So doing something that makes me feel empowered, that makes me feel lucky, that makes me feel like things are going to go well. And as soon as we start to feel good in our healing process, in our mentality, in our emotions, something is going to test us. I don't feel like it's all directly during the eclipse. I feel like for you guys, the eclipse can be something very mundane. We do a new purchase, we take on a new position at work, we're doing something different. And as soon as it gets announced, it's like the announcement brings out the other side of other people, like their frustrations, them not wanting to see something happen. Like, I don't want you to be my boss. I didn't like you as my coworker. Yet you had no clue that they didn't like you. And I feel like as certain things get announced, again, there can be other toxic like things that find their way to the surface. Because the one thing that I can say about Leo risings that y'all can do without even trying, it's making another person either jealous, insecure, or frustrated about life. And all you had to do was breathe, was shine, was do your thing. And other people's insecurity just, here they are. I need you to be aware of that. Whether the insecurity is coming from outside people, coworkers, clients, that type of thing, or whether it is an issue coming up in the family, it's coming. And honestly, y'all didn't have to do anything to make it happen. But you're probably going to be the one that has to deal with it. So be aware of that. Again, this was not in my notes. This is just intuition coming up. Moving along. Oh, Virgos and Virgo risings. You are the troublemakers. It is all your fault. You have brought the changes. You are the ones that have been vibrating. So many of you I talk to, you're like, I can't sit still. It's like my skin is on fire. It's like I'm buzzing. All I'm doing is vibrating from room to room. I'm not walking, I'm floating. I'm across the room. I'm flying. You are the problem new moon in Virgo. Now, again, there is something about this new moon that can speak back to whatever happened on August 23rd, because that was also a new moon in Virgo. A lot of you have had to put a lot of issues to bed. You've had to deal with a lot of things from the past. And now it's like that there's a completion there. We're okay with it. We no longer feel like we can wait for someone else. In fact, we realize that if we just let go of something and stop waiting for the other side, because this is a new moon opposite Saturn in that seventh house of relationships, partnerships, and legal matters, if we just do our thing and not worry about the other side, whether they like what we're doing or not, we feel the vibration for us, with us, around us shifting. Now, it's been a difficult summer. You deserve something new. You deserve a shift in the balance. You deserve for something to go your way. And a lot of you are feeling that. Some of you are feeling entitled to it. And it really kind of comes down to, again, how you have been dealing with this energy. But the best way I can truly describe how things are going on is that there is a turn, Wheel of Fortune, that has been a long time coming with this Chariot card. There's a turn in the vibration. There's a turn in the situation. And whatever we are moving towards in the long run, Six of Swords energy, whatever we are moving towards is better than what we're leaving behind. Six of Swords, Chariot card, Wheel of Fortune. Now, I love that for you. Whatever you commit to doing is going to take you somewhere that is better than what you're leaving behind. However, whether it's right before this eclipse, during this eclipse, or right after this eclipse, a lot of you are going to have to face some very hard, tense situations. And I'm putting the human effect into this by saying it might not happen directly during the eclipse. The human effect can be, it can happen during the weekend, before the week leading up to. For some of you, the human effect is going to be a part of the next week, but it is still a new moon opposite Saturn in your seventh house of relationships, partnerships, legal matters, other people. The seventh house is anybody and everybody else. It's me, it's your significant other, it's your high school bully, it's anybody and everybody else. And some of y'all are going to be making the commitment to do something, whether somebody else likes it or not. And that takes me to your final three cards. We have the Nine of Wands. We have the Hierophant. This is a very Saturnian card, by the way. And the Nine of Swords. Again, this is a new moon opposite Saturn with that Hierophant card. You are either about to do something, whether somebody else is giving you the green light or not. Some of you are getting the green light. Hey, I'm not waiting anymore. I don't know why we were waiting to begin with. I think you should just go ahead and do something. Go ahead and step forward. And it's like, oh my God, that's such a relief. I feel like I've been beating my head against the wall, waiting for something to happen for so long. And that Nine of Swords and that Knight of Wands, I'm like, I am so tired of feeling so stuck. And having both of those cards, knowing that you had the Mercury retrograde in your 12, this is the second new moon in your first house, and this is the actual powerful eclipse energy. Y'all have been beating your head against the wall for a while, trying to figure something out, trying to put something together, trying to finally take something forward. And it's something about this eclipse that finally feels like you can take something forward. And some of you with that new moon opposite Saturn, you are getting permission. Some of you with that new moon opposite Saturn, you don't want to work with somebody the same way anymore. And there's something in this vibration that speaks to, again, with that Six of Swords energy, that whatever I step into next is better than what I'm leaving behind. And some of you guys are making the decision to no longer trust in someone else being the responsible party with Saturn now retrograde in your seventh house. And that is going to be a hard mental energy to deal with if you've been relying on someone or something to go a certain way. I don't like it. I don't like the way this feels. I don't like the way you've been acting. I can't believe you would say that to me. I can't believe you would do this thing. That's exactly what you needed to do, baby. It's exactly what you needed to do. Let them go. Let this go. Some of you are getting the permission, but as soon as you get the permission, you're like, what do I do now? I didn't know I'd get this far. And it might take a few days for you to get your bearings about you. That's okay too. Just remember, whatever decisions you are making right now are also impacting your second house of money. Every financial decision that you are making right now is impacting you as an individual, considering Venus and Mercury are in mutual reception. And that's a big vibration to be going through. This next few weeks is putting some new things into play that are a long time coming. You've been waiting for this energy for months. And now I'm telling you, there's a green light. There's a green light. There's a green light. Things are moving. The wheel is turning. And that was the first few cards that you had that said that. So let's keep it going. All right. Moving along for Libras and Libra risings. This is a new moon in your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, endings, betrayal, spirituality, some levels of healing, some levels of letting go of the past, some levels of blindsiding. Please note the blindsiding conversation. Your chart ruler, Venus, is also in Virgo. It is in the 12th house of the unknown and the unseen and the endings. Mercury, the ruler of your 12th, is now in your first house. So some of you are becoming very, very aware that you can't trust somebody. Some of you are becoming very, very aware that there's going to be some things going on behind your back, whether you like it or not, whether you want to deal with it or not. Some of you are very aware that haters are going to hate and they're always going to have an opinion. They're always going to find some way of showing themselves. And some of you are going to be dealing with the overwhelm of this energy. Some of you are going to be like, I'm not going to let it bother me ever again. I'm going to let them deal with it on their own. The truth will set you free. The truth has a way of coming to the surface. Some of you are starting to realize that things that have been going on behind your back are now starting to impact you, whether you wanted them to or not. There's such an epiphany in this energy. Now, the thing is, Over the last 6 weeks, you've been dealing with Mars in your first house, Mars in Libra. And as soon as Mars leaves, the sun is going to move into your first house. So these two move signs simultaneously. The arrival of the sun coming into Libra is going to be exactly that. It's going to feel like an arrival. There's going to be a spotlight put on to many of you once the sun is in Libra, and it's going to last for a couple of weeks. And some of you, you don't care. I have done everything that I need to. I am karmically in alignment. People can say whatever they want to say. People can believe whatever they want to believe. With that sun hitting the opposition to Neptune as soon as it comes into Libra, you know they lying. You know you can't believe certain people. You know that people are going to say whatever they can to get the blame off of them. And there's that Seven of Cups. Some of you guys are going to be so overwhelmed by what is being said, by the lies, by the fraud, by the deception. I'm looking at that opposition to Neptune. Some of you are going to be overwhelmed by the other person's treatments, because sometimes Neptune has to do with treatments or addictions or something like that. For some of you, you're going to get gassed up and you're going to be feeling inspired and hopeful, knowing that you've done everything right. And as soon as their stuff comes out, their lies comes out, their fraud comes out, whatever it is, it's elevating your vibration. The truth always finds a way. We have the Knight of Swords energy. I love your cards, by the way. These are not super heavy. Now, considering we have the High Priestess card, and this again is a new moon in the 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings, some of you intuitively are going to know the truth. It's like you've never been racking your brain for months. How did I get here? How did I get here? How did this happen? When did it go wrong? When did this happen? And then something kind of clicks like, oh, no, I was too close. I was too close. If I take a step back and I really look at the timeline from beginning to end, there's something more there. And this High Priestess energy, it's an intuitive card. Some of you guys are going to have something emotional come through that impacts you in the eclipse. Some of you, it's going to be relieving. It's going to be healing. Other people's, it's going to be something very intuitive that, like, once the download hits, again, we have a new truth that we're working with the Knight of Swords. We're going to follow this up with the Star card and the Three of Cups. Now, the Star card is the card that follows the Tower in the deck. So after everything falls apart, Tower card, we awaken to the new possibilities. We transform to the new possibilities. And one of the things that I started talking about weeks ago is that while we have so much going on in Virgo, which has been going on for weeks now, some of y'all are going to go through like levels, miniature levels of like a dark night of the soul. And once the sun comes into Libra, the moon comes into Libra, Mercury comes into Libra, the awareness of what you were having to heal from is going to bring something new in front of you. It's awakening something new in front of you. And considering while all of that is in your first, your chart ruler, Venus, is still in the 12th, it tells me that there's going to be more layers and levels to the healing. And sometimes once you understand something in your healing process, the job becomes talking about it with others, expressing it to others, making it something that is palatable and fun and playful. And that takes me to this Three of Cups card. Sometimes once you have had that full breaking, like I said, the triggers that feel like a dark night of the soul, it allows for something new to come through. It allows for a different awareness. It allows for some other vibration to bring focus onto you. And that's going off of the positive. The negative would be you've been caught with the lies, the fraud, and the deception. And now there is a different kind of look on you because what you've been dealing with while Mars was in your first was all of that energy coming to the surface. And now, while Venus is in the 12th and everything else is in your first, you're trying to hide certain things from other people. not even aware that you're going to be dealing with the results, the outcome, and in some ways, the betrayal of yourself. We're all in different places. Some of you know you're going to be in a place of being able to help somebody heal. Some of you are going to be in a place of having to deal with the lies, fraud, deception, and betrayal. Different paths for everybody. All right. Moving along. For Scorpios and Scorpio risings, we are not the problem, but we are about to become somebody's problem. Yes, we are. We are about to become somebody's problem if they've been pushing our buttons for a while. Why do I say that? Well, as soon as this new moon perfects, Mars is going to come into Scorpio. Oh, I'm ready for Mars and Scorpio. I'm so ready for Mars and Scorpio because I know what Mars and Scorpio represents. And I'm going to tell you guys, I said this to Leo risings. In the next weekly podcast, I am going to put a special emphasis around the Mars and Scorpio for us Mars ruled individuals. I didn't really say this to Aries risings, but I am saying it to us because once Mars goes back into Scorpio, it's closing out a vibration that started 2 years ago. So over the next 6 weeks, we're really going to be bringing some things to the surface. We're really going to be wrapping some things up, and we're really going to be changing some things for ourselves. And some of it has to do with the way we connect to other people, some of the changes that are coming. The new moon is in the 11th house of friends and network and clients and colleagues. And then everything's going to move into the 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. Some of you are going to have to make active decisions to cut some people off. Some of you are going to be talking to certain people about what's going on in their relationships. And some of you are going to be dealing with some people that are trying to be more than friends. They're trying to connect with you in some kind of love sense. And I want you to make smart decisions because the thing about the eclipse axis going between the 5th and the 11th, I said the same thing to Taurus risings, is sometimes this energy is a set of lessons about knowing the difference between friends and lovers. And I'm going to be honest, for a lot of people, all of this stuff in Virgo, this has not necessarily been the perfect energy for trying to make some new relationship that is romantic. Now, new commitments that can speak to heart energy, absolutely. But that doesn't mean the same as a romantic relationship. So I want you to be very aware of the path you are taking. Because the last thing you want to be dealing with right now is new romantic relationships. Because, again, as soon as that new moon in the 11th perfects, things are moving into the 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. Now, some of you are going to be helping your friends make those really hard decisions of letting go of their person, of walking away from certain people. Like you are going to be the one with the pickup truck going, your boxes better be partially packed. Because if I got to pack your boxes too, you're not going to like me. Because Mars is going to be in your first. And Mars is going to be like very brash, blunt, to the point. I don't care if I'm pissing you off. I don't care if I'm hurting your feelings. I'm on a mission. Mars is about to be in Scorpio. The other thing Mars is going to do is it's going to bring up a lot of hidden desires. And that takes me to these next two cards. We do have the Knight of Coins and we do have the Lover's card. Do I feel like this energy around the new moon can be a new long-term commitment? Yes, but please note, I am not saying that in the romantic sense. Is the Lover's card about people coming together in the lover sense? Absolutely. And if you were just taking your person that you've been talking to for a while and going and meeting new groups of friends, that's a good way to deal with this. However, some of you are going to be seeing differences in your partners, and then they're going to bring up some old insecurities once everything moves into the 12th. Of like, am I in the right place? Am I doing the right thing? Some of you, you're going to be having to make the decision of whether you're doing the right thing in a relationship. Some of you are going to be, again, helping other people make their decisions. They're hard decisions as to whether they are going in the right direction or not, whether they should do the things that speak to their heart's desire. And that goes into that Knight of Cups. And the thing about romance and love and sex is it makes everything really complicated. But whenever you just take a step back and you put it all together and you logic it out, it's really an easy decision. It's just messy decisions. Again, some of y'all are going to be in a situation where you're going to help your people get through a healing process, get through some level of betrayal over the next few weeks, get through a cleansing and a clearing. Some of you are going to be making the decision. I got two of wands, that you don't trust certain people the same way anymore. You don't like them the same way anymore. You don't feel the vibration around them anymore. And you're going to be looking at a different path to follow, a different thing that can benefit you. And again, once Mars comes into your first house, we got this page of coins following the two of wands. A lot of you are becoming very, very motivated to get something done, to get something handled, to squash some things and leave them in the past. And I want you to make very smart financial decisions. We got the page of coins and we have the four of coins. So some of you are going to have to make certain decisions again to leave certain people in the past, not entirely knowing if you're going to be able to replace them as a client, not entirely knowing if you're going to be able to still financially afford certain things. That person can't be your roommate anymore. Like there's something here that also speaks to the financial impact, because that goes with the four of coins and the queen of coins. Some of you are going to have to tighten bootstraps for a little bit, because again, there's some elements of the unknown with, Mercury in the 12th, the sun in the 12th, and for a few days, at least the moon in your 12th. And some of you are going to be feeling very, very challenged in this vibration, because as soon as Mars comes into Scorpio, it's hitting that square to Pluto. But that is also reactivating some old energy that has gone on over the last 2 years. So again, listen to the week ahead episode, because if I add a lot more into this one, it's just going to be too much information. Some of you are helping your friends recover, release, review, and you're finally able to take some action, because once Mars comes into your first, it's like something's falling onto your plate and you're like, oh, so that's why you haven't been talking to me, so that's what's been going on. This dude's a fool. Cool, it's time for you to move out anyways. Move in with me, you can be my roommate, you can do this. That's a possibility. Other people, it's like once certain people start to show their colors, you start to realize like, this friendship, this relationship might not be what I think it is, might not be what I want, might not be what I deserve. And there can be something that transitions to ending a friendship, because it is a new moon at 29 degrees. And then it immediately things move into your 12th house. I'm not quick to say the ending of friendship to everybody or the ending of certain relationships to everybody, but I am saying it for Scorpios, because again, it comes to a peak. And then things move into the 12th of the unknown, the unseen, endings, betrayal, hollow ground, shaky ground. And the more shaky something feels, the more it can piss you off, because Mars is going to be in your first house. Now, we're already Mars ruled people, so you're already kind of like clumsy and stuff anyways. But don't be surprised if you get extra clumsy once Mars is in the first. You are a little bit more likely to hurt yourself once that gets started. I'm not wishing that on everybody, but I am making you aware to freaking be careful. Okay, moving along. moving along. Keeping this going. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius risings, this is a new moon in your 10th house of career, goals for the future, your public image, our direction, our path, things that we want going into the future. And some of you are going to be making some announcements in your career, in your goals, in your focus, that are going to immediately impact your group of friends, the people that you surround yourself with. Because again, as soon as this new moon perfects, the sun is going to go into Libra. The moon is going into Libra, not in that order. And Mars will leave Libra and go into your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. Now, I'm not going to get stuck on Mars with you guys. I'm going to be more focused on the fact that so much of this is going into Libra, because it's going to speak to, there's something new in regards to our goals, in regards to our career, in regards to what we're doing next. And it is going to directly impact the way that we connect to people. Now, some of you might be going in some new direction that wasn't initially part of the plan. And there can be some frustrations as to whether something is going to work out or not. And the thing is, everything happens exactly whenever it's supposed to, whether it's positive or negative. Now, I'm saying that loosely because I'm paying attention to the fact that Jupiter, your chart ruler, is starting to slow down. Now, he's not directly a part of any of these transits, but the slowing down energy is important because many of you can start to feel like, as much as you're putting new things out there, that you are starting to slow down, that your outlook on things is starting to slow down. Your results, whenever it comes to certain things, are starting to slow down. And it's like, it doesn't take away from the fact that you are doing something new and fun and exciting and connecting with people differently. It just tells me that we can't get focused on what we do not have. We need to stay focused on what we do have. And that takes me to the first card, and that's the Five of Cups. Now, in the traditional deck, this is a man leaning over, looking at three spilled cups, and he is sad, he's melancholic, he's depressed, he's crying, he's upset about what he does not have or what he has lost with the three spilled cups. Not paying attention to, there are two full cups still next to him. You got two hands, two cups that are full. Grab the full cup. Stay focused on what you have. The other thing is, cups are refillable. Stay focused on what you have and not what you're missing. Because if you stay focused on what you have with this Five of Cups, then there will be a lot more things that go in your favor. Following this with the Ace of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. Something is turning in the vibration. Something is turning into something new. Something is reaching a new energy. Something about you and what you're doing in life and in your career is starting to reach a new set of people. There's something new that's going on in career that's going to impact the clients. It's going to impact your friends. There's something new in this vibration that's transitioning something. And considering again, this Ace of Cups follows Ace of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune is following the Five of Cups. This tells me stay focused on what you have and not what you are losing, or not what has not worked out, or what has not gone the way that you had hoped. The thing about that Mercury retrograde, going back to what we were dealing with in July and August, I know, is it was meant to make you rethink. It was meant to make you learn something in the rethinking process so you can start to connect in a different way. And there's a lot of drive right now for you guys to look at connections, who you surround yourself with. Three of Wands, staying focused on friends, people that you can associate with, people that you have alliances with, people that you can trust. Because if we stay focused on that, then a lot of things have the ability to work out in your favor with the Six of Cups energy by being connected to the right people. You need a tribe sometimes. This is a vibration that speaks to you guys need to commit to the tribe and not be so concerned about romantic relationships. Commit to the idea of what you have in the pipeline in your career, knowing that it can bring new clients in, and not be so torn up about what other people think or what other people what promises weren't kept. Because we have this last card, and it is the Five of Swords, which is a conflict card. Now, some of you are going to have conflicts in the household. There can also be conflicts in the home life and in the family. Why am I saying that? Because again, it is a new moon in the 10th house, but as much as the 10th house is a career house, we put it in regards to people, can have to be a house of fathers, opposite Saturn in the 4th house, which can be a house of mothers. And we can have this father-mother tension that can also kind of come through in this energy. And I want people to be aware of that. It's like something gets highlighted. Dad wants to do something new, and mom's over here going, no, you can't do that. I don't want it. Some of you are looking at new options in regards to career, but that's going to require moving. But if you move, that means potentially selling the family home. That means doing something in the household, doing something that impacts the home life that we aren't necessarily anticipating. Some of you are going to have something in this vibration that directly speaks to the relationship with your parents, and it starts to shift your outlook in regards to how things are going to go in the future, whether that is around them and their health, or if you're going to be having to go back home and take care of them, there can be something that starts to put an awareness into play, but it's not an awareness that we're immediately working with. And you can have layers of all of this, but if it's something that you become aware of something, but we're not immediately working with it, you will be working with it before the end of the year. I promise you that, especially if it has to do with family. Okay. Okay. Moving along. We're going to get to Capricorns and Capricorn risings. This is a new moon opposite Saturn, your chart ruler. Now, this is a new moon in your ninth house, higher education, higher learning, travel. Some of you are going to be making the commitment to go somewhere. Some of you are going to be making plans with another person for them to come see you. There's like some kind of permission in this energy towards travel. Some of you are going to be forced to learn something. Saturn is in that third house of communication, short distance travel, early education, early learning. It's also in Pisces, which is a healing sign. Some of you are going to be taught something in regards to your healing process. Some of you are going to be experiencing something, awakened to something, the potential, the direction, a path, an idea. Now, all in all, the eclipse is not in a heavy place for you guys, but it is in placement opposite your chart ruler. So again, there is something that is able to come to fruition, that is finally able to come to a peak, and then it transitions into something new. Because Mars will go into Scorpio, and the sun, along with the moon, will move into Libra. That's that 10th house of career, goals for the future. There's something that is changing, that is cementing, that is solidifying in this energy, whether you like it or not. And considering Saturn is retrograde, back in Pisces, some of you do not like the changes that are going on. Some of you do not agree with what is going on because Saturn is retrograde in this opposition, in this new moon. And you want to immediately know how to handle some of the things that are going on. You want to immediately know how to handle certain truths. You want to immediately know how to handle certain information. And the thing about this energy for you guys is sometimes you just have to be a part of the process and not in control. You heard my tone. You heard what I said. You're not in control. Releasing the need to control the situation, releasing the need to control the outcome, releasing the need to make everything go the way you want it. Saturn is retrograde. You are not in control. Saturn is back in Pisces, making you go deal with some unfinished, unresolved emotions that you have not had to deal with quite yet. And sometimes you're going to be in a process of needing to learn something, new moon opposite Saturn, that will help you realize what you don't know. Now, again, your first card was the Page of Swords. And this speaks to certain amounts of truth, certain amounts of knowledge, certain amounts of inspiration. Again, a new moon in Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules our logical brain. There can be a lot of information, planning, conversations in regards to this new moon. But a lot of the other cards that are coming out for you guys, they're not nearly the same as they've been for the other people, which takes me back to this can be more of an awakening energy, an intelligence energy, an awareness energy, more so than just physical outcomes. So we have the Star card. We have the Sun card. Both of these coming out the way that they are. We need to realize the things that are coming to light, the things that must be seen. Ironically enough, this new moon again is opposite Saturn. The sun is opposite Saturn in this vibration. You need to trust the other side, whether you believe it or not. There are certain understandings that must be learned. Some of you are going to be hard to take in new information. It is going to be hard to trust everything because we have this Four of Cups, and there can be a new opportunity that we don't immediately know how to deal with. And that speaks to, again, Mars going into Scorpio and the sun going into Libra. This is a very transitional new moon that puts new things into play, that puts new things into perspective. And this Four of Cups energy can be talking about the fear around that new opportunity that's coming through, that new direction that starts to show its light. And the most I can say is, again, stop trying to control the situation. And sometimes you have to let certain people learn lessons the hard way. That is like the definition of my job. If there is anyone that has to deal with people doing the exact opposite of what I've given them advice to do, it's me. I already know. Some of you will hear, but not listen, not comprehend, be like, oh, okay, well, I don't really like that advice, so I'm going to leave you alone now. Welcome to my world. Sometimes what's starting to unfold is going to go against what you said. And what you just need to do is keep your opinions, keep your ideas, keep certain things to yourself with the Four of Coins. Now, the Four of Coins is usually talking about like keeping your assets, keeping money and stuff to yourself. But I don't really necessarily just feel like it's keeping money to yourself. I think part of this is also keeping your opinion to yourself. And with that Strength card, also being a Sun card, also being a Leo card, sometimes you just got to let other people go and do whatever they need to do. And sometimes that means letting them learn lessons the hard way. Letting them go do whatever makes them feel good in that moment, knowing that at some point things are going to come back around and they will either show absolute results that this was the right thing to do, and you just needed to trust them and what they were they're capable of doing, or you're going to have to let them come back around on their own going, he was terrible. I don't know why I ever dated him. I don't know why I ever thought this was a good idea. I don't know why you did either. I don't know either. I tried to warn you. You didn't want to listen. And now here we are. Trust the other side. And know, by allowing yourself to trust and not be in control. So many of you, I'm really very serious about this. Not be in control. It is also helping you with your healing process. Because the thing is, so many of you are trying to control everything because you went through 15 years of bullshit while Pluto was going through Capricorn. But we are now almost 1 full year of Pluto being out of Capricorn. You don't need to be as in control anymore. You need to let part of your healing process of not being in control actually work for a while. Let other people do their things. Let other people make decisions. And stop trying to control everything. Some of y'all are going to think I'm full of shit, and I know it. And most of you will remember there's a reason I keep you guys in jars. Nobody else can catch you, but I can. Anyways, moving along. Oh, for Aquarius and Aquarius risings. This is a new moon in your 8th house. Death, debt, taxes, inheritance, shared assets, shared resources, investments, money. There's something financial in the commitment whenever it comes to this new moon. Immediately afterwards, the moon is going to go into Libra. Mars is going to go into Scorpio, Scorpio being your 10th house of career. And the sun is going to go into Libra. Some of you have a new financial thing that is starting to take shape, some new debt, some new inheritance, some new payment of some sort that you're going to have to deal with. Some of you are going into something new in regards to career because Mars is going to go into Scorpio. And I actually like Mars and Scorpio for you guys. I think it's going to go well. I think that it can put a lot of things in perspective and help you in this turning point of finally getting certain financial things put underway. Like there's new options and new opportunities that for many of you are just a long time coming. But that also means allowing certain things to happen in due time. Now, you are also Saturn ruled. So I'm going to say the same thing to you that I was saying to Capricorn risings. Stop trying to control everything. You have no control. Many of you are dealing with some hardships of things that you can't even express. Pluto in your first, I'm saying this as somebody that has this as a natal placement. Pluto in your first is no joke. And it is transforming you. It is changing you as an individual. It is changing your mindset. It is changing your direction. And a lot of you, as we start to go through the energy around this eclipse and then into what follows, Mars going into Scorpio, the moon and the sun going into Libra, the immediate transition of something new falling into place and moving through. By seeing that transition come through, there's something that's going to speak to testing you to see if you're willing to finally let go, to see if you're finally willing to make a change. There's a rebalancing in the energy. And it's funny whenever you say rebalance, because Libra is literally the sign of scales. And as soon as the eclipse is over, we go into Libra season. So there's a rebalancing, Justice card. In this vibration, in this energy, there is a lot of energy that is, again, a long time coming. We have the Seven of Coins energy and we have the Wheel of Fortune. There's a lot of energy that is starting to turn. It's either turning things into your favor or turning things against you. I am not quick to say turning things against you because I feel like a lot of the summer was feeling like things were working against you. When everything was in Leo, that in a lot of ways felt like things were working against you. Now we have some element of trying to rebalance the scales, rebalance certain things that were a long time coming, allowing certain things to finally come up to the surface. And that Wheel of Fortune energy is allowing something turning into place. Now, we have the Knight of Swords and we also have the Queen of Cups. For some of you, it is having the right people on your side. That's what turns certain things into place. For some of you, it is finally speaking certain truths that you've held in for a while. And then afterwards, feeling emotionally validated or feeling more secure or feeling that things are in a better place for you, because we go into, again, this Queen of Cups energy, which is also followed by the World card. The World card is the last of the major arcana. Like, we start the tarot deck at the full card, we go through all the major arcana, and the last one is the World card. This is a new chapter card. So many of you in the energy around this eclipse, with the combination of Mars going into your 10th house of career, there is an energy that speaks to a new chapter arriving, new energies arriving, new things finding their way to the surface. Now, the one thing about Mars in Scorpio is some of the actions that we're going to be working with, or the desires that we're taking on, they're hidden desires, things that have been going on below the surface that we have not been able to push forward. But now there's something that we can finally push forward. And it does start with a challenge. By the 24th, the new moon again is on the 21st. The 24th, we have the square between Mars and Pluto. And y'all ain't going to like that. That is either going to be something that truly pushes your buttons to make you face a trauma, Pluto in the first. That is going to be something that challenges you and pushes your buttons to make you stand up for yourself, Pluto in the first. Or it is going to be something that feels like a harsh judgment by more than one person. Because not only is Pluto going to hit the square from Mars, it's also going to go through a trine from the sun. There is going to be harshness, there is going to be judgments, but there's also going to be something that if you finally put the things forward that need to be seen, the things that have been going on for a very long time, then you can also showcase the things that other people need to see so they can finally move with different information. So the key dates after the eclipse that I want you guys to be aware of is not just the 22nd, whenever the planets change signs, but it's the 23rd, the 24th, and 25th. Because the energy around that date, those dates, especially the 24th, is harsh, especially for you. Because Mars will be hitting the square to Pluto in your first house. And it is, again, going to be something that triggers a change within you. in the negative sense, because it's going to force you deeper into the rabbit hole of dealing with the traumas that you don't want to talk about, or it's going to be something that triggers this next form of transformation in you so you can overcome certain vibrations and learn something new even about yourself. It's tricky, tricky, tricky. So the new moon, in the most mundane sense, can be something new financially, whether it's a new expense, new purchase, or anything like that. I want you to be mainly aware of the vibration around the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th, because the challenge there can be something that makes or breaks whether you take steps into a new chapter in your life or not. Okay, moving along. Moving along. Okay. For Pisces and Pisces risings, last but never least, I'm sorry. All right, this is a new moon in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships and legal matters. There's something new going on underneath the surface. There's something new under the horizon. There is something new with another person that immediately takes us into a different mentality. Because as soon as this new moon perfects, and this is a new moon opposite Saturn in your 1st house. So I'm going to say something similar to you that I said to Capricorn risings. You are not in control. Just so you're aware. You're not in control. But this new moon in the 7th house, the moon will go into Libra. And by the time we get to this part of the 21st later in the evening, you see the moon goes into Libra. By the time we get to the 22nd, Mars will go into Scorpio and the sun will go into Libra. So we have a lot of things like moving very, very quickly as soon as we get through the actual eclipse. There is a new partnership, new moon in the 7th, that can immediately speak to a financial impact. Because again, the sun is going to go into Libra and it is going to hit the opposition to Neptune, which is your other chart ruler. Your luck is shifting. For some of you, you're going to have some new thing in partnerships or relationships that you might not know immediately is a secret. Don't put yourself in the situation where you are the secrets, my loves. That's not a pattern that we need to get back into. But considering 3 of the cards that came out, some of y'all might be dealing with some of this. Some of you might be meeting with certain people in your surroundings. And again, it's going to lead to some kind of financial change because you're talking to a friend about selling something or buying something. And again, it's like you meet with somebody over the weekend and it leads to a transaction and immediately leads to another gain. It's going to immediately lead to something financial because again, Uranus is going to square Venus. I've been heavy about that one, but this new moon in the 7th opposite Saturn in your 1st, and then everything goes into your 8th house or your 9th house. Oh, some of you are making plans with your best friend. You're making a commitment or something with your best friend that you guys are going to travel. And it's like, okay, we're going to go. Let's book the trip. You might not be doing the trip immediately. Like, we're going to go. We're going to book the trip. We're going to put the deposit down. We're going to immediately put some money down. Sometimes you're putting it on your credit card. But it can go in that mundane sense of like you make a commitment to the other person and it immediately has an expense. So it's like we're immediately booking the trip. We might not be taking the trip, but we're booking the trip, that type of thing. There is a decision involved, 2 of coins. Again, you are a part of the decision process because Saturn in your 1st house is hitting that opposition to the 7th. Now, for some of you, it is not as something as easy and mundane as I'm going to book the trip with my best friend. And what I'm thinking of is also Mars entering the 9th, which is a travel house. Some of you are also committing to something that is going to result in training or learning. And that could be a more softer way to deal things. But there is a decision based off of like certain people in your surroundings. You're in the right place at the right time. Just don't try to control situations with Saturn in your 1st. You are not in control right now as much as you want to be. You have to be steadfast in knowing you have already made responsible decisions whenever it comes to certain people in your surroundings. And now you just got to let some things happen. And sometimes you are also going to have to let some people hang themselves. Now, it is what it is. Now, we're going to keep this going. We have the Lover's card. And some of you are going into new relationships. Now, some of you are going to go into a new relationship and you're feeling all giddy, but you don't want to tell anybody. And that speaks to the sun going into Libra, the moon going into Libra. The eighth house, as much as it's a financial house, it's a secrets house. Some of you, the new relationship it's not the secret because you're just not quick to tell everybody. It's more along the lines of because they're not going to tell everybody. And that takes me to these next two cards. So the commitment, as much as the commitment can be the best friend and we're going to go on a trip and blah, 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 it can also be a new relationship. And then we got the Lovers card, but then everything immediately moves into the eighth house. So there could be either you making a commitment to yourself secretly, or this is an affair thing and you're the secret. And that takes me to these next two cards, the Three of Swords and the Devil card. Let's not go into patterns of affairs. Let's not go into patterns of secrets, because whenever it comes to the energy of the springtime, at minimum, well, the springtime, there's going to be other timelines in between now and then. There can be issues in regards to secrets that impact you by the time we get to the next eclipse season. So do not start a relationship based off secrets. It's one thing that you don't want to tell everybody you're dating somebody. That's different. It's another thing to find out you are the other person, that you are the third party. And the Three of Swords, that could be a third party card. Some of you might be placing some really harsh judgments, Saturn in the first opposite the new moon, on another person, and you do something that instigates depression, or you piss them off because you break up and they're sad, and that can also go into the Three of Swords because it can go into depression. It can go into that melancholic energy. Some of you can find out that a relationship is ending and you have the triggers of depression and melancholy of like, oh my God, did I make the right decision? Four of Cups. This is your last card. Whether you should try something or not. If somebody does not bring you peace when that you are around them, a true partner does not bring anxiety. It does not bring up insecurity. They bring out the best version of you. You feel like you can be the best version of yourself when you are around them. That's the best thing about a good relationship. If you have somebody that brings out insecurity in you, that's not a good partnership. And this is one of those things that we are very teetering on the relationship thing because, again, the eclipse is in the seventh house. But if this feels like an opportunity and that you don't want to miss, and the Four of Cups speaks to that, then channel Mars and Scorpio and do your diligence. If you feel like this is a good person to connect to, double check their social media, reverse image search some things. Make sure that you're not getting into a loaded situation. Cover your bases. Use that version of Saturn in the first. Don't use it in a controlling sense, because that's not going to help you. For a lot of you, there's going to be something new that arrives and comes to light based off of the other person, based off of the other side, based off of a legal matter. And you just need to be with Saturn in your first, you just need to stand your ground of, this is what I said. I'm standing on what I said. You need to go deal with whatever you need to deal with outside of me. And I need people to be aware of that too. You are not necessarily in control of the situation, but you can take responsibility for what you need to and make responsible decisions for yourself. This can be a new relationship. This can be new things with another person. This can be new things in legal matters. Everyone's in different places as an individual. So be aware of that. Okay. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Hit me up with questions. Hit me up with concerns. Remember, you can book at the discounted rate until the end of the month. So book your sessions while you can. I will talk to you again very, very soon. Subscribe.